Welcome to the Stop Down Photography Podcast, episode 60. I'm Scott Davenport. Today's topic, will photo workshops return in 2021? Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad to be back with you for another chat about photography, this shared passion of ours. And in today's episode, let's take one more step on our never-ending journey of photography. To say that the past 12 months have curtailed our engagement with landscape and nature photography is an extreme understatement. I think it's fair to say that we all have a pent-up desire to meet up with our fellow photographers, get outside with our cameras in a group setting. As 2021 progresses and the grip of the pandemic starts to loosen, many of you have been asking me, when will your photo workshops return? Is 2021 the year they come back? I thought this would be a good topic to discuss because I strongly believe in-person workshops are a fantastic way to learn, to stretch creatively, to grow as an artist. So today, let's talk about workshops in a post-pandemic world and what I'm thinking about for the rest of 2021. If you enjoy today's podcast, please share it with a friend, share it on social media with your camera club, and if you can, please leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. Those ratings really help others find out about the show. I firmly believe photo workshops are one of the best ways to grow as a photographer. A good photo workshop immerses you in photography. It reinvigorates your passion for it. You surround yourself with like-minded cohorts, all pursuing the creative life with a camera. I've talked at length about photo workshops way back in episode number 3 of this podcast. And the advice and observations I offered in that episode, both as a workshop leader and as a workshop student, I think are still very valid today, and I'll put a link in the show notes so you can have a listen to that one. But to the question at hand, the question many of you have asked, and with increased frequency of late, hey Scott, will you be starting up photo workshops again in 2021? So right off the bat, I'm honored and flattered you're all asking this question because I have no doubt there will be a burst of photo workshops to attend when the pandemic is under control. And the interest you express in my workshops tell me that you like the way I teach, and that is truly appreciated. So thank you very much. To answer the question, will I host workshops in 2021? And the honest answer is, I really don't know. It's a straightforward question, but there's not quite a straightforward answer. And my current thinking is maybe hosting a workshop toward the end of the year. Call it quarter number 4 of 2021, like October-ish of 2021. I think by then we'll know, has the pandemic gotten under control enough where we can meet up in group settings and not have too many restrictions on how we interact and operate with one another. Locations I'm thinking about are San Diego, my hometown, maybe the Oregon coast, perhaps Big Sur in California if I can get a little more scouting ahead, because there have been some road closures from weather of the last 6 to 9 months in that area. I need to know exactly what's accessible and what's not. The connection with these places is they're all locations I know very well. And the pandemic hasn't really allowed for a lot of exploring of new locations to plan out new workshops and new adventures. And also, these locations I'm familiar with at the time of year I'm thinking of hosting a workshop. For me, that's an important factor. For my workshops, I host them in places that I've been to and places I've been to in the particular season we'd be visiting. Yet picking a location is really just the beginning. Yes, the photo opportunities are forefront on my mind, but as a workshop host, there's a lot more to consider. Even when the pandemic relaxes and we're able to meet and interact, a lot has changed in the last year, and I expect the dynamic of a workshop will need to change as well. There's just still a lot of questions, and I thought I'd share some of the things that are running through my mind as I think about planning a workshop in this post-pandemic world. One question comes to mind right away for me: where do people stay? And for some of my workshops, I'll rent a house and the group will stay together. We go out and photograph together, we eat together, we process together. And it's a really good time. We really get to bond and build up a rapport that helps us work through whatever challenges we're facing with our photography. Post-pandemic, maybe that's not quite the right choice, or maybe as a prospective participant, that's not something you'd be comfortable with. So I'm not sure how that plays out. Related to that, these close quarters conditions, how do we get to and from locations? Carpooling is the norm. Well, will we still need to be practicing social distancing? Well, if so, carpooling is not as easily done. When you're on location, it's not as much of an issue. Everyone's outdoors, we have room to work, we can have space. But getting to the locations, different story. And then if each person drives their own car, that's kind of the knee-jerk response. Oh, everyone can transport themselves. How do I make sure everyone knows where to go? Nobody gets lost. Will there be enough parking when you're getting to a location? Depending on the workshop and depending on the spot for that day, sometimes these aren't like well-marked locations. It's just pull off at this particular area on the side of the road, and then you get out and you work your way to the location. That's tougher when you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different cars trying to do that. Another question, once again, related to that close quarters time when you're needing to work in an enclosed space. Part of my workshops is classroom time to work on our photos, work with the digital tools, because digital photography is a mix of the capture and the processing. And it comes back to that social distancing thing again. Can a workshop effectively have close quarters processing sessions as part of it? And one other practical question that comes to mind is restaurants. Will they still be operating at limited capacity? What does that mean for a larger group? A table for 7 or 8 isn't always the easiest to find without restrictions on how many people can be in a restaurant. And not every place takes reservations. And sometimes reservations mean you get locked into a particular sequence. I need to go to this location, then to this restaurant, and then we're done. And when conditions are suggesting you need to change the plan and go to a place that has a better photo opportunity, that becomes a little more of a challenge. But the photos come first after all. So it's another question I just don't have a good answer to. And that brings me back to my overall imprecise answer. Will my photo workshops return in 2021? I honestly don't know, but I sure hope they do. If you're listening to this and are interested in attending a workshop once I begin them again, the best bet is to subscribe to my email list. When I do open up workshops again, I notify my mailing list subscribers first before workshops are publicly announced on my website. And I'll put a link in the show notes to my main website. Every page has a button at the bottom called Sign Up for My Newsletter. You can sign up there. It's a newsletter about once a month. There's not a lot of traffic. I'm not spamming you with things. Occasionally, if I have an off-cycle product offering, I'll send out a notice for that, along with a discount code usually. And another group of photographers that will learn about the photo workshops extra early are members of the Patreon community. Patreon members are the first to know when a new workshop opens up. It's a way I can thank you for your ongoing support of this podcast, the free tutorials I do on YouTube. I can never say thank you enough. At the very least, I can give you the first opportunity to sign up for workshops when they do open again. And speaking of which, the Patreon folks, you're listening there, I owe you another Patreon exclusive video. I haven't forgotten. There's an open question about blending modes in On One Photo Raw, and I plan to get something posted very soon. So keep your eyes on the Patreon community feed for that coming soon. And if you're interested in learning more about the Patreon community, what we're doing there, check the show notes. There's a link down there with all the details. There's also a support the show button on every page of stopdownpodcast.com where you can learn more. And hey, if you can't pledge support right now, I totally get it. It's been a rough 12 months. But still, check out that support the show page. There are many zero-cost ways you can show your support for this podcast and keep the train rolling here. And that is it for this week. I hope this gives you an idea of what goes through my head about photo workshops for 2021. I have no doubt that workshops will return as a whole, and I think there'll be a lot of really good ones out there. I hope to be part of that. I just want to make sure that I can deliver it at the quality level that I've done so in the past, because I want everyone to have a good experience. Photo opportunities are very important, but so is the overall experience, and I try to consider more than just get you at a good location. It's get you there safe, make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're having fun. So hang in there with me, and let's hope that toward the end of 2021, workshops will resume again. And until next time, my name is Scott Davenport. Have fun.